I'm here in Dublin to interview Mark Pollock from the Mark Pollock Trust. If you haven't heard Mark's story, then don't go anywhere. The Trust is aiming to raise €500,000 this year to fast track a cure for paralysis and help the millions of people all over the world get a better quality of life. It's my 4th year championing Run in the Dark in Galway. It's a pop-up, so run with me on the 15th of November on the prom. It's the 7th year of the Run in the Dark event, and 25,000 people will run it right across the world. Come with me, let's speak to Mark.
JSB Talks Digital.
Mark Pollock, you're very welcome to JSB Talks Digital. Now we're here for a very special reason. You've just launched the annual Run in the Dark. It's the flagship fundraiser for the Mark Pollock Trust. 25,000 people are now running this race right across the world. You started with this idea, pen and paper, a number of years ago.
Yeah, at the time after my accident, maybe about a year after I fell out a window and broke my back, we were wondering how we could raise money, not as a one-off, but rather over the longer term. We had to create something that was sustainable. We had to, in effect, create a not-for-profit business to fund what we have gone on to do, which is to find and connect people around the world to fast-track a cure for paralysis. So we had to set up this nominally not-for-profit but social enterprise, but of course it's entirely for profit because we use the profit to fund the research. So yeah, we've just launched it again this year, 7th year. 25,000 people will be out there running on the 15th of November.
And I've been championing the pop-up in Galway for the past 4 years now. I run for fun, more stamina than speed, as we've been conversing about with my trials and tribulations of my marathon running, half marathon running, sorry, Freudian slip up there. But I know when I run it, and I have been running it, there's nothing like getting out, standing up, having the rain from the Atlantic coast on your face, and thinking about why we're running. People have been really motivated by the cause, haven't they?
Yeah, I think so. It's been really quite interesting since the start because we began thinking that the challenge of finding a cure for paralysis is a global one. So to build a community of people who are out there doing something, moving for people who can't, and being involved in the cause seems to have engaged people in a way that we never really expected. Now, 7 out of 10 people after spinal cord injury never work again. 4 out of 10 live below the poverty line in this country. So the reason that we want to try and fast track a cure for paralysis by engaging all these people around the world is to try and solve that problem, to find interventions, to find cures that can take people off drugs, that can deal with the nerve pain, the spasms, the kidney infections, not just the lack of feeling and movement, but rather the impact of spinal cord injury. And with those thousands and now tens of thousands of people over the last number of years, we're starting to make a difference. We're starting to bring people together. We're starting to scale up the trials and commercialise the technologies to move from the research lab to the clinic.
You've always had big ideas. Now that sounds like me being cynical, right? But I'm not. But you do have big ideas, and even like, finding a cure for paralysis. And you acquired your spinal injury 12 years after you lost your sight. How do you bounce back from something like that, and is it that fight that keeps you going?
I think I kind of go back to a book someone read to me after I went blind. It's called Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, and it's a must-read. Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. But in that book, Frankl often quotes the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, who says, "He who has a why to live can bear with almost any how." The idea that if you know why you're doing what you're doing, you can put up with the tough stuff. Now, it happened to be that Viktor Frankl's tough stuff was being locked up as a prisoner of war in the Second World War. For me and for millions of paralysed people around the world, the challenge is that there is no cure for paralysis yet. So our why and what we're driven by is to try and find a cure for paralysis, to find and connect people, to come together to find that cure. And whenever you have an understanding of why you do what you do, then you can put up with the tough stuff. Then you can put up with the fact that you can't get out of bed by yourself, that you have kidney infections, spasms, nerve pain, and I suppose a challenge to your hope that you might be better one day. So I think, in fact, you can put up with tough stuff when you're very clear about why you're doing what you're doing. When I went blind, I wanted to go further. When I broke my back, I just wanted to walk again.
I've seen a really great photo. It's you and our newly elected Taoiseach Leo Varadkar, and it's to launch Run in the Dark 2017, and you're standing upright. And that's the transformation that you have created, because you are the global pilot in the driving seat of the Robotic suit. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so in 2012 I went over and I've been reading about these exoskeletons, these robots that were being built to help people stand and move. And in 2012 I had the opportunity to go and test one in San Francisco. Very quickly it became clear that just standing and walking, just like that narrative that we hear that if you sit at your office desk all day you're going to be in trouble over time, well that's the reality for people in wheelchairs all of the time. And just to be able to stand and move psychologically, that has a huge impact. Physically, it has huge impact, keeping the tendons stretched, weight bearing through the bones, helping with the digestion, all of those things which are compromised when you're paralysed. But in fact, that imagery, I think, is engaging and has allowed the robot's been a bit of a Trojan horse to start a conversation around finding a cure for paralysis, because I think all of us, it used to be Superman, Christopher Reeve was paralysed, Superman was paralysed, now I think we've moved on to Iron Man. I think all of us would like to be enhanced in some way by robotics and technology, but what's underneath all of that is electrical stimulation of the spine, biological interventions, pharmacology, other things which visually we can't demonstrate, but what's under the bonnet, if you like, in science is what's really making a huge difference. The robot is allowing me to stand and walk, to get up out of the wheelchair and to move, which is going to be a very, very important part of the retraining. The charity sector has had a difficult time over the past 18 months. But one of the things that you've done this year is you're actually letting people know where their money is going, and with the amounts that they raise, what it will actually cover. So, for example, every €30 raised covers 1 day of clinical research fees. Every €60 raised covers a physiotherapy session in the lab. Every €120 raised covers a PhD candidate for 1 day, and every €240 raised covers your research scientists for 1 day. This is really important. I mean, you would not be standing upright beside our Taoiseach and giving hope to other people who've been affected by a spinal cord injury if people didn't run in the dark and were so generous with their November evenings. Yeah, it's funny because we sit somewhere in this strange science charity world where, in fact, what we're doing has no grant funding. So there's no grant funding for bringing people together, creating international collaborations, bringing different technologies together, which, strangely enough, all of the scientists believe that to find a cure we're going to have to bring robots and stimulation and drugs and biological interventions together to create a cocktail of cures yet. There's no money to inject into and create those collaborative startups. So Run in the Dark and my speaking has helped fund those initial startups, and over time, once we get multiple trials on the go, then money will flow from the US and European funding systems. But this is sort of like a business startup. It's just the business we happen to be in is the business of finding a cure for paralysis. So it is hugely important and has been hugely impactful. The people paying their €25, their €30, donating money on top of that, raising money throughout the year to allow us to fund PhDs and postdocs and clinical research fees and expertise from the outside coming into Ireland and helping us really to create those collaborations between technologies and between people who have never worked together before. So it has made and continues to make a real difference, and we're starting to deliver some real impact for the field of paralysis research.
Now, my final ask to you is to look to all the people in Galway and ask them to join me, and they can come from Mayo and Limerick or Donegal, wherever they want to, but to join me and hopefully 300 others on the 15th of November at 8 p.m. on the prom in Salt Hill. It's 5k, but you can run the prom twice and you can do 10k. I will talk at the beginning and talk at the end, but I don't talk when I'm running. So come on, join me and encourage them to come out and to join me in November.
Well, we are in the business of trying to find and connect people around the world to fast track a cure for paralysis, and with your help we'll be able to do that. With your help, we'll be able to help those 7 out of 10 people who never work again, 4 out of 10 who live below the poverty line, the 100% of people who are subjected to a life of paralysis with little hope of a cure. We're trying to change that narrative, and with your help we can do that. So join Joanne and her team and the 25,000 people around the world on the 15th of November at 8 o'clock on Salt Hill. Salt Hill Pier?
Prom. Mark, thanks a million. Always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you.
Okay.
JSB Talks Digital.
Give me a like, subscribe, and get JSB Talks Digital, the vlog, every Monday morning in your inbox. And please do share with your friends. They'd really appreciate it.